Hey guys, it's me. I'm actually doing a second video, which is kind of amazing because this is still pretty much terrifying and I just spent like 10 minutes trying to talk myself into this. I'm still terrified. Anyway, I think I found a way to make sure I at least put up one video a week. I'm going to try to do a weekly one on Saturday, which is where I just talk about the stuff I did this week, maybe put up some videos I took during the week. If you guys post anything in the comments, I can talk about that stuff, but that's just a Saturday thing, and I'm not even sure if that's going to get up every week. But I think I found a way that I can at least post one video a week, so that will make the few friends and subscribers I have happy, and that is by reverting to my love of all things Star Wars and talking about the only Star Wars TV series that is currently on. Maybe we'll get more, but right now the only thing that is on is Star Wars Rebels. So for at least the next few weeks, I will at least be able to post one vlog a week. And maybe if there are certain episodes that are like really amazing, I'll post a video of myself reacting to them. Warning, unlike the cooler vloggers who do stuff like that, I will not have the little screen within a screen where you can watch the video of what I'm watching. You'll just see my reaction. And those won't get posted. If I do something like that, I'm not going to post those till like a week after the episode that I'm reacting to airs. That way I give you guys a better chance of watching it. So, what I decided to do, and what I bounced off a few of my friends, and they think it's a cool idea, is every week I'm just going to do basically a rambling of the Star Wars Rebels episode. I'll try not to spoil them too much. It's going to be hard because a lot of the episodes all are linked in some way, shape, or form. But I'm going to try my best, but most likely there will be spoilers. I will always say spoiler alert. So, spoilers ahead, so I'm sorry ahead of time. So, since this is my first video, I thought instead of just doing last night's episode, I would go back and do the two before that because there have been 3 episodes so far. The first of the second half of the second season aired on January 20th, so I thought I'd go back to the first 2 episodes and talk a little about those before I get into last night's episode, The Legends of Lasat. So, let's get started, and I apologize in advance for my rambling and the fact that I don't make much sense half the time. I listen to myself and I don't even understand half the things that come out of my mouth. Okay, so quick recap of the first 2 episodes prior to this. The first one is Princess of Lothal, and I actually found that one a pretty strong opening for the second half of the season. Princess of Lothal picks up right after Legacy, which is, of course, an episode which a lot of people, I don't know if they were talking about it, but it definitely solved a big mystery of what happened to Ezra's parents. Legacy is where Ezra gets a vision, and it takes him and Kanan and Chopper back to Lothal, where they meet up with the former governor, Ryder Azadi, who was imprisoned with Ezra's parents 7 years ago when they were arrested for speaking out against the Empire. Now, Ryder Azadi, spoiler alert, probably most of you have seen already, reveals to Ezra that his parents have actually been alive in the prison for the past 7 years. But after hearing Ezra's radio broadcast, where he encouraged the people to speak out and stand up against the Empire and never give up hope that things could get better, his parents were inspired to do something a little like Ezra. They organized a prison break. Now, apparently, all the prisoners escaped, including Ryder Azadi. Sadly, Ezra's parents weren't so lucky, and as we learn in Legacy, well, they're no longer alive. Which, for a lot of us, was something we were banking on. There was 2 ways this whole thing about Ezra's parents could have gone. One, they could have been alive, they could have run into him eventually, and then it would have been, will Ezra go with his parents, or will his parents let Ezra stay with Kanan and continue his training and work with the rebellion? Or Ezra's parents were dead, which is what we got. Another fan theory I saw bounced around over a couple places was that Ezra's parents are actually the Inquisitors, the 7th sister and the 5th brother. But since the 7th sister and 5th brother are not human and Ezra is, that fan theory was, like, not even. So Princess of Lothal picks up where Legacy left off. Ezra is dealing with it the best he can. He's still sad. Well, who wouldn't be? But he's got a mission. Hera calls him and Kanan to let him know that Senator Organa is sending them some help. And this is where it gets interesting. The help he's sending is none other than Princess Leia with 3 hammerheads. Well, they're supposed to be hammerheads. And so the mission is supposed to help Ezra. And basically the plan is Leia is working within the law to break the law and help the rebellion. Instead of just handing the ships over to the rebels in space, for which Alderaan could get blamed, lose her seat, and probably be charged with treason, It makes so much more sense for Leia to take the ships to Lothal and have the rebels steal them from a world controlled by the Imperials. The Imperials will get blamed, and Alderaan can continue helping the rebellion without really any suspicion. Good plan in theory, except for the fact that since Alderaan is supplying the rebels with a ton of these ships and it hasn't gone unnoticed, the Imperials decide, well, we're going to LoJack the ships, basically attach them to the ground so they can't go anywhere, which means they have to come up with a new plan. That does involve a little help from Ryder Azadi, who they do save, and they do come up with a plan, and it does work, and it saves the day. I don't want to go into too many details. Basically, it's really interesting seeing Leia interact. Of course, we have to remember she's 15. She, Luke, and Ezra are all the same age. But it is kind of jarring when you see her, where Ezra does look like a teenager. In fact, he kind of looks younger than 15. Leia looks a little bit older. But then again, when you think about Leia, where she is at this time, she's not just working for the rebellion. She's a princess. She's helping out her adopted father in the Senate. So she kind of has to dress the part, which means looking a little bit older and mature. There is a touching scene between Leia and Ezra that I have to talk about. And it's basically just it's just them talking. Basically, Leia's on the Ghost, and she comes across Kanan, Zeb, and Sabine trying to comfort Ezra about the death of his parents. Now, Leia doesn't know what's happened. She just met these people. But Kanan talks to her and explains when she asks him what's wrong with Ezra, Kanan explains that Ezra just lost 2 people really close to him. And it's hard being a kid in a rebellion. I mean, let's face it. When I was 15, I doubt I would have been able to handle Jedi training, soldier training, and trying to topple a huge empire. Definitely think Leia and Ezra are a little bit more mature than I was at 15. Anyway, Leia remarks that she knows what it feels like, and of course she does, obviously. She seems confident, but she's also a 15-year-old, and she probably has times where she doesn't feel that confident. Something she admits to Ezra when she goes and talks to him at Kanan's encouragement. Ezra asks her point blank, doesn't she ever feel like the rebellion's actually worth it? Do you ever wake up and think, well, maybe this isn't so good? And she says, yeah, every day. Because let's face it, for every small victory they get, the Empire kind of gets a big major victory. Anyway, when Ezra continues his line of questioning, asking her since she's a princess, she really doesn't have to do it, so why does she? Leia remarks that because she's a princess and that she can fight, she thinks she should fight for others who can't, and she thinks Ezra's the same way. Which, I agree, Ezra is very much in that same line that since he can fight, he will fight for others who can't. Now, he doesn't like to act like that. I mean, he's a tough kid. But we have seen it. Let's not forget, at the very beginning of the series, in Season 1, when Hera sends Ezra to go help the crew get off the Imperial ship that was a trap, he stands there and says he really doesn't believe in helping others, and yet he goes taking off and does it anyway. So, obviously, Ezra and Leia do believe that since they can fight, they should fight for others who can't. Another interesting moment is one of the funnier moments is when they go to get the ships again, is something Ezra does. Now, Kanan decides to help out, and he's dressed in full Stormtrooper or Buckethead armor. And let's just say it's a little jarring seeing a Stormtrooper welding a lightsaber. It's kind of weird, but kind of cool at the same time. Well, that impresses Leia so much that Ezra's like, if you like that, watch this. And uses the Force to summon the blasters from a pair of Stormtroopers threatening Ryder Azadi. Good in theory, but Ezra seems to forget he was not just summoning one blaster, he was summoning 2. The first one he catches A-okay. The second one, well, that hits him in the head and sort of knocks him out. A little tip, if you're going to summon 2 things, make sure and remember you're summoning 2 things, and don't try to get knocked out by the second one. Also, a note, I thought about this last season, and it's still thinking true. The Stormtroopers seem to have replaced the droids when it comes to those funny, kind of corny one-liners. During the first few seasons of Clone Wars, the droids were always saying these really lame, sometimes funny, but mostly corny one-liners like, I just got a promotion, and then their head gets chopped off by a lightsaber. The Stormtroopers, I feel, have definitely replaced the droids in that aspect, especially in the first season. They were really saying a lot of those corny one-liners, sometimes funny, but it's definitely the droids have been replaced by Stormtroopers. Will that last after, like, the first couple seasons in Clone Wars? The droids were replaced. The battle droids were replaced, and suddenly we weren't getting those corny one-liners, so I have a feeling that if this does go past 3 seasons, the Stormtroopers will no longer be as corny or as talkative as they are right now. But Princess on Lothal was a pretty solid start for the second half of the season, and of course, there's one other thing, spoiler alert, at the end of the episode, when they're leaving, Ezra does tell Leia that he'll see her soon. Now, does this mean Leia's going to be back in the second season? I don't think so, but there is a third season that they are working on right now. So there is a chance that we might see Leia again, and if we do, maybe things will be a little more different. It definitely seems like she and Ezra are going to be friends if she does return, but we'll just have to wait and see. After Princess on Lothal, it was another interesting episode called Protector of Concord Dawn, which gives us a little more insight into Sabine. This one was a little bit different, and I was more excited, not because of the plot. I like Sabine, but I'm more of a pacifist. I'm not really into the guns a-blazing thing like that. I was more excited because Rex was in it. I won't lie, I was so excited. I think we have been so spoiled in the first half of the second season with how many episodes we got with Ahsoka and Rex. They were like in pretty much almost every single episode of the first half. So I was really kind of bummed in Princess of Lothal that we didn't see Rex or Ahsoka. And so when I saw Rex in Protector of Concord Dawn, I'm like, yay! And he was in a couple scenes. It was really awesome. So I was totally excited that he was there. So that was like the thing I was most excited about. Basically, it's kind of similar. The Rebels are trying to find a way to move through the Lothal system, but they keep getting caught by the Imperials. So they need a new hyperspace route, somewhere safe. And Sabine and Rex both point out, well, hey, there's this colony, and it's run by a bunch of Mandos. I cannot say the name of Mandalore. I can say that. I can't say the other stuff, so yeah. But, so it's like, oh, so Hera and Kanan, their first idea is, we shall negotiate. It's like, okay. Sabine's like, that's not going to work. And I agree with Sabine, because it doesn't work. Hera gets injured pretty badly. So negotiations no longer on the table. Sorry, Kanan. And he decides, well, he's going to try again anyway, because Hera's mission was to negotiate and recruit some of these guys. So he decides he's going to go off to New Dawn himself, only with Chopper when he gets yelled at. Sabine sneaks on. Thank you. Now, a quick note, the Protector's helmet has a logo on it when we see him for the first time. It might just be me, but that logo kind of looks a little similar to Death Watch, but that's probably me. Noted, the Death Watch episodes of Clone Wars are kind of not my favorite episodes, especially in like season 5 when Darth Maul and Savage Opress come in, because Darth Maul scares me. But it does kind of look like the logo for Death Watch, but I don't think it is, especially when Sabine introduces herself and when she announces her clan is Vizsla. Pretty much every single member of the Protector gets really upset because Vizsla was Death Watch. So, I don't think it's the Death Watch logo. Maybe it just looks really similar. I don't know. Anyway, basic plot is while Kanan negotiates and tries to get them on their side, Sabine's going to blow up the Starfighters. Well, she kind of wants revenge for Hera, takes out that single combat rule, and totally owns Frau Wen, and they actually end up taking him captive, so they save the day. I know I'm spoiling, and I promised I wouldn't. But it all ends up well. I do notice a few things. It's definitely really interesting. The music has changed a little. In this episode, it was the first time I really noticed it. The guy who writes the music for Star Wars Rebels is heavily inspired by John Williams. You can't really do a Star Wars show with the music and not have it be influenced by John Williams. He is like the iconic guy. This is one of the first episodes where I kind of noticed how different the music is. There was a couple episodes in Clone Wars where the music was kind of techno-y and stuff. But this was totally different. The music in Protectors of Concord Dawn, it was totally very Western-y. I mean, at one point in the bar, you heard that stuff. So it kind of definitely felt like they were drawing influence for the music from the old Western movies. Also, I kind of noticed that Kanan has done a total 180 in his attitude about being a Jedi. When we first meet him, and even in this book that I'm currently reading, A New Dawn, which is about Kanan and Hera meeting for the first time, he is kind of like, he doesn't want anything to do with the Force. In his mind, especially in New Dawn, Force is bad because the Force takes away everything you care about. But all of a sudden, probably because of Ezra, he's done a total 180. He is becoming very much a Jedi again. Negotiation over violence, being a kind of pacifist, stuff like that. It's very interesting to watch and see, especially after seeing the first season, where the first few episodes where he didn't really want anything to do with it. He didn't even want to admit that Ezra himself was Force sensitive. And there was an episode where even he was so doubtful of his own training that he was willing, well, he was going to save her anyway, but he was so willing to have Master Luminara Unduli train Ezra. But it's really nice to see Kanan do a total 180 and be totally accepting now that he is a Jedi, he has the Force, and it's up to him to train Ezra and help create a new generation of Jedi. Also, the ending is really sweet. Spoiler alert. Again, part of the whole thing that makes me so interested in Star Wars Rebels is the archetype of the characters. The crew are the ghosts, and they say it themselves, they're a family. Kanan is the dad, Hera is the mom, Zeb is the annoying older brother that sometimes you wish would just drop dead. Sabine is the sister, Ezra is the baby brother, and Chopper is the cat. And who doesn't like a cat? But it's a conversation at the end that really hammers it home. When Sabine points out there was no reason to kill Frau Ren if they could find another way around it. And Hera comments that Sabine is sounding much more like a Jedi. And Sabine goes, well, she was just raised right, which is so sweet and cute. Okay, now on to last night's episode. Finally, I promised, Legends of the Lasat. This is an episode I was kind of really looking forward to. I kind of know a lot more about the other characters than I do about Zeb. For instance, Sabine is a Mando. Her mother was in Death Watch. We don't know who her mother is, but she's kind of tough. She went to the Imperial Academy before she broke out with one of her friends. Kanan was a Padawan named Caleb Drum. He was a Padawan to a Master, and actually he kind of gave Obi-Wan Kenobi the idea of how to get Warren the Jedi away from the temple, which is also in A New Dawn. Read it, it's totally good. Hera, she's a pilot, and her dad is actually General Syndulla from Clone Wars, so we kind of know more about them than we do about Zeb. What I know about Zeb was limited so far, that he's a Lasat. He's apparently one of the last ones. His homeworld was totally wiped out by the Empire, and he was part of something called the Honor Guard, which sounds like an elite warrior class. So Legends of Lasat was really cool to see how much more we learn about Zeb, and we learn a lot. But it's also a return of another Clone Wars character. This one I could have done without. Hondo or not Hondo. Okay, I'm sorry. Hondo is just, I don't know. He blows hot, he blows cold. I kind of liked him when he first appeared in the episode where Ezra was doubting him that he could be a Jedi, and so he debated about going back and being on his own and being a pirate. But after watching Clone Wars and seeing Hondo and how he acted with the Jedi and what he did to them and stuff, I don't really like him anymore. He's more like this guy that you see him, you never know what he's going to do. And he definitely plays both sides of the coin in this episode, helping out the rebels, but at the same time, almost giving them away to the Imperials. Come on, pick a side, Hondo, and stay there, please. You give me whiplash sometimes. Anyway, Ezra's the lead on this mission, which is so cool, and their mission is to save a pair of refugees who are in trouble by the Imperials. Who are they? They're a pair of Lasats. And they instantly recognize Zeb. Turns out Zeb just wasn't a member of the Honor Guard. He was a captain. In fact, he was pretty famous. But we also get some insight into Zeb. Because of what happened on Lasat, on his home planet, and the fact that he was in charge of protecting the royal family who were all wiped out, he feels horribly guilty and really doesn't want anything to do with his history or his past, including what the two Lasat refugees are trying to do. They're trying to find their new homeworld of Lyrasan, and for that, they need Zeb's help. But Zeb doesn't really want to have anything to do with it. Now, since this episode just aired, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. Suffice to say, it's really interesting to see how Zeb changes and grows within the 30 minutes we are allowed. Please, Star Wars, make Rebels longer than 30 minutes. I feel like I just get into the episode and it's over. It's also interesting to note how much spiritual stuff is kind of leaking into the show. On Rebels Recon, which I will talk about, the creator does talk about how much they're trying to link spirituality into the show. And it's never more apparent than in this one. Ezra is helping the refugees, and they talk to him about the Ashla, which is their mystical force. Which, when the elderly Lasat explains it to Ezra, he comes out with, it sounds a lot like the Force, and Kanan explains, well, it is. The Force goes by many names. So, that's really interesting to note. Anyway, it's a great episode, and it's really cool scenes up. One of the more serious ones, but it's awesome. So definitely check it out. It was a good Star Wars episode. Again, the music, it seemed a little more like Space Odyssey than Star Wars, but I guess they're trying to change it up. The guy who does the music is trying to make the music more his own. It's just going to, I think we're going to go into it. It's going to be less and less John Williams-esque and more this guy's own interpretation. And I gotta move because my feet are asleep. Oh, there we go. So it was really cool and interesting to see. So that was basically my recap. And like I said, I rambled and it's a very long video. So I'm not going to try and keep you guys any longer. If you want a little more in-depth and behind the scenes on Star Wars Rebels, which you won't get from me, then I definitely recommend this short series on the Star Wars YouTube channel called Rebels Recon. Each week after the new episode, they air a little behind the scenes, giving a complete summary of the episode and explaining some of the things. And part of each episode, we get to see a little clip with Chopper, and the woman who hosts it takes fan questions that she gets via Twitter or social media to one of the storyboard guys. This week's question, it threw me for a loop, and I bet if you watch it, it will throw you for a total loop too. Granted to say, that is a link I never thought of. So, if you want more behind the scenes detail than what you're getting with me, go check out Rebels Recon on the Star Wars YouTube channel. And thanks for watching this week's video. If you like it, click like, subscribe, or leave a question or comment below. And hopefully Saturday I'll have a regular non-Star Wars video up. Cross your fingers. I don't know if I can do it, but I will. So, thanks. I'm off to finish reading New Dawn and continue trying to play Star Wars The Old Republic. Yes, I have an account. I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm doing it because a lot of my friends play it, and oddly enough, when I get together with my friends online and in real life too, let's just say I'm the only Jedi in a room full of Sith, and it is not a comfortable feeling. So if you're ever in the Old Republic and you see a character named Tylea, that's me. So, thanks for watching, and next week looks like it's going to be a really kind of trippy episode for Rebels. Giant whales. I don't know what they are, but I can't wait to see it. So, as usual, I'm Caitlin. Thanks for watching. Click, subscribe, comment. Go check out Star Wars Rebels Recon. And I'll see you guys Saturday. And if not Saturday, I'll be back next Thursday with a new Star Wars Rebels recap. So, check you on the flip side, and may the Force be with you.